Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
It's our unit on food.
Yay.
Boy, am I hungry, especially now that it's May and summer is coming and we might be looking for a way to cool down on a hot summer's day. Most oftentimes here in Taiwan, it's always fun to go have an ice, like a mango bing, mango ice or something like that. But in Japan, of course, they've got different ways to cool off. Maybe you could have a biru or something like that, or another cool drink. Maybe they've got iced tea over there, mocha or something like that. But we're talking about something else, something that I've never heard of until today, and that's nagashi somen, Japan's flowing noodles. Okay, that's an interesting tradition. When I was preparing for today's lesson, of course, I went onto YouTube to figure out exactly what this is all about, because I couldn't really imagine it from the description in the article, and you might have to do that too. It's pretty weird. It's like a long bamboo pole that's maybe about 10 feet long or something like that. It's cut in half from top to bottom, and then water flows down it because one end is higher than the other, and then somebody at the top is putting noodles in that trough, I guess, of the bamboo pole, and then other people are standing further down the pole, and they dip their chopsticks into the water that is flowing like a small stream or something, and you try to catch some noodles so that you can eat them. I guess this is a tradition in Japan. Sounds like a lot of fun.
Well, you definitely have to work for your dinner, that's for sure. I hope it's not too slippery. My feeling would be that because if you look at a picture, guys, you can see that the trough is angled down, so it's steep, I think you'd have to move pretty quickly to get those noodles because they're very slippery things. I don't know how I'd feel about sharing my noodles with a big group of people, unless they're all my friends, but who knows? It does sound fun. We're going to go ahead and read through the article, and then we'll be back to talk about it.
A group of friends has gathered in the backyard of someone's home in Japan. Before them is a large bamboo trough with cold water flowing along it. A server shouts, "Ikuyo," and lets the noodles slide down the trough. Everyone watches intently and uses their chopsticks to snatch the noodles out of the water and dip them in sauce. This Japanese meal is known as nagashi somen, or flowing noodles. Nagashi somen is an essential part of summertime for many Japanese people. The cold noodles help people cool off, and eating the dish is both a meal and a sort of game. Making nagashi somen at home starts during the Japanese holiday time of Golden Week from April 29th to May 5th. Traditionally, a team of men and children finds and cuts down a tall, heavy bamboo stalk 5 to 6 inches in diameter. Everyone carries the bamboo back home. Then they split it in two with a hatchet, saw, and wooden wedges before washing it clean. Meanwhile, the women handle the cooking and preparing of ingredients. First, they cook the somen noodles in a big pot before washing them to prevent the noodles from sticking to one another. Then they mix minced ginger, sesame seeds, and chopped green onions in a bowl of soy sauce to make a dip for the noodles. Finally, everyone pulls up a chair next to the bamboo gutter in the backyard, and the meal begins. Whoever is the fastest with their chopsticks gets to eat the most. If any noodles get to the end of the trough without being caught, worry not. There's a colander there to catch them and usually a kid waiting to eat them. However, if this all sounds like too much work, you can enjoy nagashi somen at a restaurant too.
So as we often do in some of our articles, we're setting the stage, we're setting the scene, painting a scenario here for you. We've got a group of friends, and they've all gathered in the backyard of someone's home in Japan. Oh, this is outside. Interesting. So before them, you need to picture this as a large bamboo trough with cold water flowing along it. This word... kind of weird spelling in English, but there's actually the GH at the end is pronounced f with an F sound, so it's a trough. Typically, when we use trough in English, we're talking about that little kind of thing that we use to feed pigs in. Pigs will eat from a trough. It's a long, open, narrow container that animals can eat or drink out of. For some reason, pigs are used the most with the trough. Oh, well, that looks like a pig's trough there. So this is what you can see. Next, you've got a guy. He's a server, and he shouts,
Iku or ikuyo.
Yeah.
I know iku in Japanese means go, so ikuyo means let's go or here it comes or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
So again, we've got the server at the top of the bamboo trough, and this person is putting the noodles in the trough, and he or she says, Ikuyo! And then the noodles slide down the trough. Of course, there's water running through it. Everyone watches intently and uses their chopsticks to snatch the noodles out of the water and dip them in sauce. Okay, so yes, everyone's there standing next to this bamboo trough. They're watching intently. Intently here is an adverb. It just means you're watching and you're not getting distracted. You are concentrating on what you are looking at. You're watching intently, waiting for something to happen. And then when the noodles come past you, you try to snatch those noodles out of the water. And here we've got the word snatch as a verb. It just means something is grabbed quickly or you move quickly in order to grab something. You snatch them out of the water. This is often used with the preposition out of, snatch something out of. In this case, getting those noodles out of the water quickly before someone else gets them. And then once you have those noodles in your chopsticks, you dip them in a sauce. That's similar to the way people here in Taiwan eat shuijiao, or boiled dumplings, or steamed dumplings for that matter. You dip those dumplings in a sauce. Here it's a sauce of soy sauce and vinegar and garlic or whatever. Well, here in Japan, they're going to dip those noodles in a kind of sauce which we'll describe in just a couple of seconds here.
So this is kind of what it looks like. If you're like me, you probably want to get a look at a visual. You want to see a picture. I had to get online because I couldn't decide what this was. I'd never heard of this before.
Yeah, once I saw the video on YouTube, it all made sense.
Yeah. It makes sense, and the description actually is very good. It's just that I'd never heard of this before, and I couldn't imagine people trying to snatch noodles out of a trough.
Looks like a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah. So this Japanese meal is known as nagashi somen, or flowing noodles, if you want to translate that. Moving on to the next paragraph, it says, this kind of noodles that we're talking about, it's an essential part of summertime for Japanese people. Interesting. It does look like it's a lot of fun. I never thought of eating as sort of an activity at the same time, but that's what it is. It's kind of a fun activity while everyone's trying to eat. If something's essential, you absolutely have to have it. It's vital. Something that's essential for us as human beings is air and water. Sun is very essential as well. So it's an essential part of summertime. So this is something that's very traditional in Japan and that people just have to take part in because it's just a part of their lives, especially in summer.
Yeah, of course, a lot of us, when we're going to school during the year, we imagine what we're going to do in the summer. And, of course, summertime traditions in America would be to have a 4th of July picnic or something like that, to go to the beach or the swimming pool and stuff like that. In Japan, they imagine the day that they'll be able to eat nagashi somen. It's an essential, important part of their summertime, and the cold noodles help people cool off. So yes, these are cold noodles. So if you're feeling hot, You can eat those noodles and feel cool, just like people here might have their mango bing, or in America we have ice cream to cool off. And of course, eating it is both a meal and a sort of game. So yes, you get to eat the noodles, but also it's a game, a kind of game at the same time. It's not really a game like playing poker or chess or something, but it's sort of like a competition. You've got your brothers and your sisters who are trying to get the noodles before you. So yeah, it does kind of turn into a competition.
So it's a type of game, a sort of game. Well, often I was just thinking as foreigners, especially Americans, will say, hey, are you hungry? And a response might be sort of, which is kind of weird, but we say that. So kind of, a little bit. Yeah, I could eat, sort of. And we'll say it so fast, sometimes I bet you don't know what we're saying. So sort of, a sort of. But here, it just means a type of something. So making these type of noodles at home starts during the Japanese holiday time of Golden Week. Their Golden Week is from April 29th to May 5th. When it starts heating up, traditionally, a team of men and children finds and cuts down a tall, heavy bamboo stalk 5 to 6 inches in diameter. In diameter is how big something is around. So take a cylinder, some sort of thing that's circular in shape, and measure that. That's the diameter. So the stalk, a bamboo stalk, a stalk is kind of like saying a trunk or a branch, but really kind of thick. People here all know about bamboo, so you know what a bamboo stalk is, and it's round, it's a cylinder shape. So they cut that, and that becomes the trough, but you need a big bamboo stalk if you want to do this.
Yeah, when I think of a stalk, I think of a stalk of celery, but there are different types of stalks. Usually they're included as parts of plants, like bamboo is a kind of grass, actually. And everyone carries the bamboo back home. Then they split it in two with a hatchet saw and wooden wedges before washing it clean. So imagine a really long bamboo pole. They cut it into or split it into, but not in the middle of it from left to right. It's actually from top to bottom. They split it from the top to the bottom. And they use a hatchet, which is a kind of axe, a small axe, and a saw, which of course has the T, a saw. And then we've got these wedges, which are triangular shaped, and they're usually made out of wood. In this case, they're wooden wedges. And they use those things to split this long stalk of bamboo in two. We use the word split here because it does describe the action of cutting it into from top to bottom. And then, of course, they need to wash it clean. It might be kind of dirty or something because they are going to serve food in this bamboo trough, so it's got to be clean. And as you know, everything is clean in Japan. Okay, that brings us to the halfway point of our lesson for today. It's time now to listen to our Chinese teacher.
Hello everyone, my name is Tina. 今天我们要介绍的呢是日本的流水面线。首先来看到第一段的第二个句子写着 Before them is a large bamboo trough with cold water flowing along it. 在这里谈到呢有一群人聚在后院，有一个大型的 trough， 在这里是一个竹槽，在他们的面前，然后 with cold water flowing along it. 在这里的 with 是一种表达附带的状态，而这个冷的水呢，沿着这个竹槽而流动。flowing 要加上 ing 来修饰前面的 water 是主动的流的意思。而其实这样的句型我们常常可见用 with 加上名词加上 VING 或 VPP 来修饰前面名词的主动或被动的状态。举个例子来说， Joyce 很开心的在公园里骑着脚踏车，而她的头发呢就在空中飘扬着。我们可以说 Joyce happily rode her bike in the park with her hair blowing in the air. 在这里呢 with 就是有一种附带状态的意思。接着来看到在这一段的倒数第二个句子提到Everyone watches intently and uses their chopsticks to snatch the noodles out of the water and dip them in sauce. 在这里有几个字，我们先来看一下。intently 代表着是很专心的、专注的意思。 举个例子来说，他聚精会神地仔细地看着这些古董。He was examining the antiques intently. 而后面的 snatch 就是有夺取、抓住、快速的夺取、抓住的意思。A dip 则是有浸泡，所以你可以看到这个句子就是所有的人非常的专注着看着这个流水面线，然后用筷子抢着呢把这个面线夹起来去沾酱汁。而第二段刚开始就开始介绍，我们来看一下第一个句子。Nagashi somen is an essential part of summertime for many Japanese people. 在这里的 Nagashi somen 就是流水束面的意思，它其实对日本人来说是夏天不可或缺的一部分。Essential 在这里当作是形容词，解释成为必要的、不可或缺的。我们常说成功是必须要努力工作的，所以我们可以说 Hard work is essential to success. Essential 这个字也常常有本质的、基本的意思。如果我们说这两篇论文基本上并没有什么太大的不同，你就可以说 There's no essential difference between the two essays. 接着我们来看到在同样一段后面倒数的第三个句子。Traditionally, a team of men and children finds and cuts down a tall, heavy bamboo stalk 5 to 6 inches in diameter. 这个竹槽呢，是要由一对的男人跟小孩去寻找这个 a tall, heavy bamboo stalk， 找这个又高又重的这个竹子，把它砍下来，然后呢，大概直径是5 to 6 inches in diameter， 5到6英寸。Diameter 指的是直径，我们常在数学看到它会用 d 来代替。那么考同学，半径呢？半径叫做 radius， R-A-D-I-U-S， 就是有半径的意思。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Okay, everybody, let's continue talking about Nagashi somen, the flowing noodles of Japan, and it's a popular tradition during Golden Week, which is coming up here. Of course, today is May 2nd, so this is going on right now. There are a whole bunch of holidays during Golden Week, so they just have this one long celebration.
Fun.
And, of course, you need to stay home and observe this kind of tradition here, the tradition of Nagashi somen. Now, we talked about how they prepare this. We've got the men and the children going out to find this bamboo stalk. They cut it down the middle, and they make this trough here. Then the women, meanwhile, the women handle the cooking and preparing of ingredients. When we use the word meanwhile, we're saying that, okay, while this is happening, something else is happening at the same time. So while the men and the children are preparing the bamboo stalk, the women, at the same time, are doing the cooking and preparing the ingredients.
That makes sense. I was wondering where the ladies were when we said the men and the children go out to find that bamboo stalk. So, yeah, they're busy cooking and preparing all of the ingredients. When I want to make something, I first need to make sure I have all the ingredients in the recipe at home. It's really frustrating if you start to cook and then in the middle of it you find out, oh, darn, I don't have that one ingredient. And then you have to run to the store. So they're busy cooking and preparing the ingredients that go into this particular dish. First, they cook the somen noodles in a big pot before washing them to prevent the noodles from sticking to one another. I never wash my noodles. I just cook them.
Yeah, when you're cooking spaghetti, of course, after you've boiled them, you're supposed to rinse them with cool water.
Oh, I don't do that.
Okay, I guess that's to prevent them from sticking together. So that's what they're doing here. They wash those noodles with fresh water, probably cooler water, and that way they will not stick to one another. Yeah, nobody likes to have sticky noodles. It's kind of yucky. It's kind of gross. And then they mix the ingredients here. We've got minced ginger, sesame seeds, and chopped green onions. Those are all mixed in a bowl of soy sauce. And those ingredients combine to make a dip for the noodles. Nagashi somen. Okay, so again, the ingredients are minced ginger. Ginger is jiang, as you know, in Chinese. So if it's minced, it's chopped finely. Okay, and we've got sesame seeds, of course. They're kind of sweet. And then we've got green onions. They're chopped into small little pieces, and they're all mixed in a bowl. And that's used to make a dip for the noodles. These ingredients kind of sound similar to the ingredients in hot pot here in Taiwan. When you mix ingredients together.
Oh, yeah, totally.
It's similar. It's not the same, of course, but somewhat similar here, where you dip your vegetables in that dip. Dip can be used as a noun or a verb. The actual sauce in which something is dipped into is called a dip.
Yeah,
like
and remember, chip dip, one big rule for everybody is if you have a bowl that's a dip, you can't double dip, which means you can't take your chip, put it into the dip, take a bite, and then put the same chip back into the dip.
Very unsanitary.
No.
Of course, you're spreading your germs that way. So, yes, when you dip your chip in that dip, eat the whole thing because that dip is being shared with other people.
Yeah.
But I think in this particular case, as is the case with eating dumplings here,
you have your own, huh?
Everybody has their own sauce. So I guess everybody has their own sauce, which is prepared by the women. Again, they've mixed all these ingredients together in a bowl of soy sauce, and then you have the dip for the noodles. Now, finally, everyone pulls up a chair next to the bamboo gutter in the backyard, and the meal begins. So if you pull up a chair, that means you're preparing to sit down. Oftentimes, you might say this to someone if you're in a coffee shop or something, and you see somebody you know. You say, hey, pull up a chair and sit down, and let's chat, because perhaps there aren't enough chairs at the table. So you tell them to pull up a chair, find a chair, another chair, and move that chair to the table where you are sitting, and then your friend can sit down and chat with you. In this particular case, they pull up a chair, or they place a chair next to the bamboo gutter in their backyard, and the fun begins. Then you can start to eat.
That's right. This gutter that you see in the sentence is the same thing as the trough. You can use either word. Aren't there roof gutters back east in the United States?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, we don't have them in the West too much, but those gutters get filled with leaves, and sometimes you have to get up there and clean out the gutter. So that gutter and trough referring to the same thing. So,
I remember that, yes, when I was a kid. Of course, our house, of course, had gutters because it rained a lot. But also during the fall, of course, the leaves would get in there too, so you'd have to get up there and clean out the gutters. I think also in the street there, we also referred to the water moving underneath the street there as the gutter as well. Any place where water is kind of flowing in a narrow passageway that's open on the top, that would be a gutter. So, yes, we've got the bamboo trough or the bamboo gutter. And, of course, this is in the backyard. And, of course, here in Taipei, most people live in apartments. So maybe you could do this on your balcony or something. I'm not quite sure.
My balcony's not big enough.
I've never seen anyone in Taiwan do this before. Maybe they had this tradition during the Japanese colonial era here in Taiwan. Who knows? Maybe people down south have their own houses and they can do this in their backyard. Who knows? But in any case, in Japan, if you're there during Golden Week, you might see this being celebrated.
Sounds fun.
If you have the luck of being invited to someone's house and they say, hey, come on over and have some of this nagashi soshi. It is oh so oishii desu.
So whoever's the fastest with their chopsticks gets to eat the most. That was my fear. I thought, if you're not really good with chopsticks, I bet the noodles would just flow right by you. Or somebody maybe ahead of you in line has access to those noodles before you can get to them. But I think everybody gets to eat eventually. If any noodles get to the end of the trough without being caught in someone's chopsticks, worry not, don't worry. There's a colander there to catch them, and usually a kid waiting to eat them. A colander is a type of bowl that we use in cooking. I have a colander at home I just used this weekend. It's usually plastic and it's got little holes in it that you can drain water out of something and keep the bigger part. For example, noodles. When I cook noodles, I pour the noodles with the water through the colander, and then the water is out of the noodles then. So there's a colander to catch the noodles, but not the water. The water just goes through the little holes in the colander.
Yeah, I would say it's a kind of net or a kind of filter or something at the end. Of course, you don't want to... Strainer, that's a good word there. This would be at the end of the bamboo trough or the bamboo gutter, so that will catch everything that was not caught before. Some people might be lazy and just simply wait, I'll just have those at the end there. I don't want to bother with my chopstick skills. But hey, it's fun there to hold those chopsticks and try to catch those noodles as they're coming down. As we said, it's a kind of game. Not an official game where people are keeping score or things like that, but still, it might be kind of competitive with people trying to get more noodles. And, of course, the kid might be waiting to eat those noodles, especially if he's a tub of lard or a big fatso and he just wants all those noodles at the end. However, if this all sounds like too much work, you can enjoy nagashi somen at a restaurant too. So it might be too much work to go find a big bamboo stalk and chop it in half and then have the water go down and catch those noodles. That's too much work. Who's got time for that? They probably serve this in restaurants as well. The same noodles and the same sauce, the fun of catching them with your chopsticks.
There's no manual labor involved. There's no work, so you can just sit down and eat something really tasty. Right now, we're going to listen to our Chinese teacher before we come back and wrap it up.
接着我们在第3段的一刚开始的句子看到 Meanwhile, the women handle the cooking and preparing of ingredients. Meanwhile, 在这里是一个重要的转承词。我们在这个句子当中，在这个段落当中会看到许多的转承词，它们的功能跟作用呢是可以用来协助语义的转换。前面提到大家扛着竹子回去，而在此同时 Meanwhile女人呢，则负责烹煮跟准备材料。Ingredients 可以指的是烹调的原料，或者是混合物的材料。如果你好奇这个蛋糕是用哪些原料做的，你就可以说 What are the ingredients of the cake? 而后面提到的转承词讲到他们所谓准备的步骤，你会看到 first, then, finally，这些都是重要的转承词。接着在第3段中间的句子提到 Whoever is the fastest with their chopsticks gets to eat the most. 在这里的 whoever 就等于 anyone who. 任何一个呢用筷子动作最快的人，他的动词是 gets， 他就得以呢吃最多咯。要特别注意一下这里的句型。再举个例子来说，这些档案呢，对任何不管是谁来接管这个工作的人来说，都是很有帮助的。我们就可以说 The files were very helpful to whoever took over the job. 特别注意这里的 whoever 就等于 anyone who. 接着来看到这个段落的最后一句However, if this all sounds like too much work, you can enjoy nagashi somen at a restaurant too. 用 however 来代表语气的转折，前面看到有这么多的准备工作，然而如果这一切听起来是 too much work， 很费工，那么你也可以去餐厅享受流水素面。OK， 以上就是今天的课文讲解，谢谢收听。
That's all the time we have for today, everybody. Thank you so much. And hey, if you're going to Japan to celebrate Golden Week, have the time of your life and eat some nagashi somen for us because we can't go. From all of us here at English Digest, I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
Bye.